Let's talk about some possible ways for the green card. Obviously, the EB category, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB5. Let's start with some of the easiest ones that we can appeal to, and then we can talk about the harder ones. Let's talk about the EB5 first,
Sure.
because we might run out of time.
All right.
That was a joke,
A
by the
lot
way.
to talk about, especially on this topic now with a lot of buzz from this administration about
Is
all the
EB5
possibilities.
running out of time? Address that
No,
first, please.
I don't think so. No. For first off, just for everybody, this is a question that we've been getting a lot. And in this administration, we've heard they're trying to implement all the visas, the so-called golden visa, which would be just another option. But the EB5 program is a Congress-made program. There was a process where Congress approved it, right? And then it's a law essentially, right? So
Uh-huh.
it has an expiration date, and that's in 2027. So unless there's another Congress approved sort of legislation where this is canceled, I highly doubt that the EB5 program is going away. And I tell you this because the EB5 program is a program that is very attached to the locality of this country, meaning in local cities and states, because these programs are focused and aimed to help cities and rural areas with high unemployment rates. So this is very tied to Congress people, and they love obviously bringing in jobs to their own districts. So it'll be very hard for them to sort of reverse course on something that was already passed through Congress. I think it's a popular thing overall. They might add on new opportunities like the golden visa that's been floating around a
Right.
lot. It's just more opportunities for you to get a green card. So
Well,
I don't
again,
think
I
eventually it's going to be
appreciate
get
your
rid
point of view on the EB5. Obviously, you're an immigration attorney, and you guys are, you brought up with ideals and what is right, and always doing, what is right. So that's a very noble thing, and this is what you would expect from an immigration attorney or from somebody who's been in immigration. Hey, look, there's a way these things are done. Here are the details, and whatever the case may be. Yet, we, the foreign investors, oh, I'm out of focus. We, the foreign investors, do not necessarily look at it that way. They say, hold on a minute. There is a program. I understand it's being grandfathered up until 2026 and the 2027 as well. Technically, I can do it, but now I have a big enemy against the program, which happens to be the sitting president of the United States of America and the current administration. So, would I depend on a program which has the current administration of the United States of America as an enemy in front of me? This is just a basic sense that any savvy investor or anybody who's taking a risk would calculate. Of course, we all agree the United States is not a banana republic, and there is a process for everything. But just even hearing from the current administration, people would rethink that particular possibility and look at some alternative routes. And one of those alternative routes we've been talking about is EB1A and EB1Cs. Let's talk about the EB1 briefly, EB1A, EB1C. So I'm an entrepreneur, Joaquin. I came to this country, bought a franchise, opened up, my business. I'm employing people, and I'm doing really good, and I continue working on my career and my personal brand and personal profile to become a better version of myself. I'm trying everything that is in my power so that my business performs better, and I'm really and truly becoming a name to reckon with in that particular niche that I am. So I might want to make an argument for EB1A or EB1C. How would that process look like?
You want to be in a position where you meet as many criteria as possible, and then you also want to relate it to what you've done. Remember, obviously E2 is an investment visa, but there might be instances where you're investing in, you have a business that deals with what you've done your entire career. You might be a tech person, right? You might be entrepreneur, but that has finance backgrounds, and you're doing your business based on that. So you want to relate that back to what you've done in the past as well, what your history has been, and then something that you can work on while you're here. So you can meet criteria related to a higher remuneration, for example, is, not only in the past but here in the present in the United States. right? You want to meet criteria related to being part of distinguished organizations or associations. You might be so successful in your business that you're getting some PR coverage, right? You're getting some articles written about your business, what great applications perhaps, or what great companies you've been working with. And all of those are things that are positioning yourself into a much better place when you're making those arguments into the EB1A.
That's super important. And I do believe that it is very, very important. And in a way, it's easier to do it with a business, is because the business can give you a leverage. So, for example, just like you said, that you could use your business to, launch a project and do certain things that could get some press coverage.
Yep.
You can implement a new methodology, get some, patents, um, that could be counted as original contribution to that particular niche that you're in. But I
You
guess it
could be
is
hired by
important.
the government. You could be hired by the government, federal or state level, for big projects, right? Let's say you have a tech company or something like that, right? And you're being hired to, I don't know, develop an application to make transportation easier in Miami. That's going to be part of the criteria of a contribution, most likely within the EB1A, right?
and
So
and if you
that's
take
something we
that
have to think about.
contribution and
Yeah,
a newspaper picks it up, or the press picks it up, all of a sudden you got some things that are written about you and
for
and
sure.
your contributions and your business. So
Absolutely.
I guess what I get to speak to a lot of people who are looking to buy a franchise, set up their own businesses, or move their existing businesses in other countries to the US. And we generally start talking about E2 Visa and what Visa franchise can do for them to facilitate this particular process. But I always ask them, is there any intention to get a green card? Not everyone has the intention of, obtaining a green card right away. But most often than not, people say, well, if things go fine, maybe in the future we might consider that. And then to that I say, okay, why don't we look at your business from today and make sure that we structure it in such a way that could give you a much greater leverage should you follow a path to green card in the future. So, would you say it is important to do the right structure from day one?
Planning is key. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, if that's something that it might be a remote idea in the back of your head, why not just plan around it anyway, right? So once again, we're getting into, intention and all that. Originally, obviously, your intention is just to leave the States, but it doesn't mean that it can be an idea, right? So I don't want to get into, legal jargon, and that's not the point of this conversation. But in the end, if there might be a possibility in the back of your head that you potentially at some point you could be in a situation where you change your mind and you want to stay in the United States, not immediately, but later on. It's a really good idea to structure your first visa around your potential future plans.